Welcome to this lesson. In this lesson, we are going to have the pass the hash attacks where we don't require to put the plain text passwords or even don't put your effort to cracking the passwords like the password hashes to get the plain text passwords and then authenticate on the target machine. But pass the hashes is the technique to directly put the hashes dumped using the privilege escalation, and many techniques. There are a number of ways we can get the password hashes from the memory, and then once the password hashes are gained and we have access to that, we can simply try to put that hashes actually to authenticate using the username. So the details about that and going to perform the pass the hash attack, we need number of certain permissions, like we need one administrative accounts like we have already done inside the previous module in the privilege escalation. And as we have the one administrative account, we need number of tools. So the tools that we are required here is the first one is the Mimikatz, that here we can see I have downloaded here. The Mimikatz trunk that we will be required, going to x64, and here it is the executable. There are a number of the sources and the binaries are also available, but it requires to be compiled on your local system using the Visual Studio. But better to download the executable in the easy way and directly execute that. Alright, so the first thing is the mimikatz.exe, because this tool is going to perform the action. And the second thing we will be required is the process explorer, that is the ps-exec. And not exactly the process explorer, this is the process execution. So this executes the processes on the remote systems, and this is from the sysinternus once again. And here we can have the URL to download the ps-exec. Now we need to have the hashes first before passing the hashes, because pass the hash technique requires the hashes with the username to be authenticated. So here is the Mimikatz. We need to run it as the administrator. So here nothing to worry, because we already have this account administrative access. So run anyway, and it will not ask for the passwords. Alright, so now this is the Mimikatz having the version numbers and so on. So I'm going to elevate my privileges with this command prompt, because this is going to grab the hashes from the memories, and this will collect all of the password hashes stored on the machines. So we need to have the privilege for this particular process. So privilege will be there. So the command, that is the privilege debug, is the command. So privilege to 20, okay. And now we need to grab the hashes from the memories. So let me keep it a little bit more longer. So the command for that will be the secure LSA and the logon passwords. So this is going to grab all of the logon passwords stored on this machine to grab the NTLM hashes, LM hashes, usernames, and so on. Hit enter, and this is going to collect all of the password hashes. As you can see here we can see the hexadecimal format is also available. Going to the first, let me check how many password hashes are there for a particular user, particular accounts as well. So here we can see this is for the John Doe, the same account by which I am running this Mimikatz tool, and this is on the logon server, that is the domain controller here. And coming to the next thing, here we can see the NTLM passwords, NTLM hashes actually, not the password. So NTLM hashes in the multiple formats are available. Here we can see the username with the domain on which this user is going to be logged in, domain greyhead.local. And here we can see now it have grabbed the passwords directly, that is the password 1 for this user only. Now coming to the next user to check for, so this is also for the John Doe. Coming to the next user, this is Windows Manager. Alright, so here we can see this is the window manager, that is the domain, and here we can see the DWM2 having the password hashes, and this is for the computer name or the username we can say for the punk computer. Now let's move to the next one. Alright, so we have not much of the details about that, but how the pass the hashes are actually takes place, because this collects the hashes from the memories if it have in the memory inside that computer machine, and if there is nothing, it is not going to do that. And for the thing that I'm going to put for the punk computer here, let me first check for. Alright, so all these things are the same. And alright, so this is for the John Doe and the account passwords and the account names with the domain. All things have been there, and as we can see, there is no much of the information on the memories are there from the last boot up, because this grabs all of the hashes from the memories, and once the systems are going to be completely shut down, it is not going to take that out. So for the better demonstrations, let me log in with the other accounts on the other machine here, or on the same machine for that particular session. So I'm going to switch the user from here. That will be better to demonstrate every accounts if it have or if it is going to be found. So I'm going to switch user so that this user will be logged in and the data will not be deleted from the memories. Alright, so now let me try out with the other administrative accounts to check it out how many details it can be gathered in the memory. So the administrative account, that was the ADMN, and the password was alright, so the password might be deferred. Alright, so we need another one. Let me try out administrators. Alright, so as an administrative account of the Greyhead domain, I am logged in here. Here we can verify that this is the administrator and I am logged in on the Greyhead domain. Now let me switch to the other user, that is the John Doe, and in that case I'm going to try to dump all of the passwords, and let's see if that administrative account's passwords can be grabbed from the memories. Alright, so this is going to be logged in, and we need to run all of the scripts and all of the commands once again to make it work and find all of the accounts in the current session. So moving to the location for Mimikaz, and here it is in the download folder. I'm going to Mimikaz trunk here, and once again x64, right click, run as administrator. Alright, so let me type once again privilege. Okay, now the secure LSA, then log on passwords, and this is going to once again dump all of these things from the memories. Now let me analyze that once again. If we have the administrator account's passwords found in this session, Alright, so for our information, here we can see we have found that for the administrator account, but there is no passwords at this time. This is the logon time that says, and the logon server, that is the domain controller in this case, but there is no passwords have been dumped for that particular account. So this is the main motto behind using the Mimikatz to grab all of the passwords from the memories, and this is the complete process that I have conducted here. And if there is any passwords in the memories that will be grabbed, it is passed by the Mimikatz. So now let me use that pass the hash to use the same hashes and authenticate as the any user for this demonstration. So going to the first one, I'm going to use the password hashes for let me use one of them, like the interactive from 4. So this is for the window manager, and this is for the username domain, and let me try out with this one to. Alright, so this has been copied here. Now the next command that will be to authenticate is the secure LSA and the PTH with the user. So in this case, the user, that is the punk dollar, will be there, and this way. Now the domain, so the user requires to be in this way, so user and this way. So the domain, in the same way, domain will be Hakin9 then the NTLM hashes, that will be NTLM, and then the hashes for the NTLM that I copied. Now let's hit enter. Alright, so now we got the once again the system 32 cell, and this has been authenticated with that account. Let me try out who am I. Alright, so this is the same password for the John Doe that I copied for. So this is not going to pull anything from there, but let me go to once again the ps exec command to check if it is working. So the ps tools, ps exec. Alright, so it is working. So the commands for the ps exec will be the ps exec and the domain controller in this case. So the Hakin-DC, and then the command that I wanted to run, so the cmd.exe, and it's trying to connect. Alright, so they couldn't access the username of the password is incorrect. Alright, so this is not authenticated over the domain controller, but this is the way to pass the hashes, and we have passed the hashes over the that command. Or let me try out once again if it is going to work. Let me close this first. Alright, so I'm going to use the hashes. Alright, so this way it is not going to work with the ps exec tool. Now let me try out with the another thing. So going once again to pass the hashes using the same command. So this time I'm going to use the domain, that will be the once again, or the username will also be deferred, so the John Doe, and with the same name, and the once again the Hakin-DC, that will be with the domain, and then going to NTLM, and then the hashes of the John Doe account. So this is from the John Doe account hashes. You can check it out in the first phase of the secure LSA command and the PTH pass the hash. So hitting the enter, and once we have, let me check it out. Alright, so this is John Doe. Now let me try out running the command from the other things like the ps exec. So cd, that will be the ps exec tools, and the ps exec.exe, that will be the Hakin9, and the command cmd.exe. Alright, so this looks like the path that is not enabled, and hopefully it looks like this is going to work. So let me put some more command here in this way. Alright, so now the execute processes remotely, and it looks like it has been working there. Let me type the who am I once again. Alright, so this is not going to work, but the command has been completed because this system, that is the system 32, Windows System 32 command prompt, was with the same process where we used the password to authenticate. So this was the pass the hash, and we passed the hashes on the same command prompt, and this is why it is going to work on the same things. So at this time we are going to authenticate on the domain controller with the user account, and this have completed the command at this time, because at first this was not going to work because there was the access denied for the remote command completion. And here we can also use some of the other techniques to infiltrate all of the things, all of the datas.
Alright, so now let me put everything from the getting the password hashes to passing the hashes in one shot. So I'm going to use all of the commands, and so this time I'm going to use the John Doe username and the domain grayhead.
And so this is the lateral movement. Now we are on the another system from the attacker's perspective, because the pass the hash we have used for using another system, and the passwords from all of the users that logs on to a particular machine will be grabbed in. So now, summing up everything for pass the hashes attacks, so what it requires is the first thing, the administrative account for running it. So we have already escalated the privilege in the previous module. Now the next thing is we need to have the PS exec tool and the mimikaz. So the mimikaz tool is most important because this is going to pass the hashes attack process successfully. And once we are going to do that, it is going to grab the hashes. So the third thing requires for the pass the hashes is the password hashes of a user account and the username. So once we have the user account name and the user account's password hashes, we can directly put that password to using the mimikaz, using these commands, to the authentication mechanisms of the Windows authentication system. And this is not going to ask for the plain text password, and this will be authenticated with the simple password hashes. The idea behind using the pass the hashes technique is simple and straightforward, because many times you are going to have the lateral movement, and you will be working on the lateral movement in the different machines. So you will have the lesser time to conduct all of the things as per the red teaming perspectives as well. So this is why we don't need to crack the passwords. Simply put the hashes directly at the place of the passwords using the mimikaz pass the hash technique. And that's all for pass the hashes. In the next upcoming lessons, we will also see some different related things, attacks related to the mimic cache, because mimic cache can also perform pass the caches, golden ticket attacks, silver ticket attacks, and many things. So upcoming lessons will be based on that too, and in the upcoming modules as well. So you can try out using the different number of users by logging to the particular machine. So this is the Windows Enterprise. What you can do is simply log in as many as accounts as we have created inside the domain controller, and once they all are logged in, simply switch the user and go with the backdoor account in the previous privilege escalation technique that we used. And once you're going to do that, run the mimic cache and all of the password hashes will be grabbed. So this requires some time because mimic cache collects the data from the memory itself, because you need to have the accounts running some time and for the few minutes to grab the password hashes by the mimic cache. And that's why the administrator account's password was not available, and that was not shown because that was not in the memory at that time. So see you in the next lesson. Till then, try it out using the different number of accounts logged in and the mimic cache for passing the hashes. See you in the next lessons.